Good morning, everybody. I'm Steve Goring with FPS. I'm going to show you how to use the query section of the database. The query can only be accessed if you're on the contacts section and you're either on list up here or the cards. Either one, you can access this query section. So let's leave it on lists and we'll click Use Query. And it brings up another ribbon control inside of the list, and we have different colored sections. General has dates, ages, profiles, meeting codes, insurance has term insurance. This is good for insurance agents that want to see all the term insurance that's ending the anniversary date on this month, next month, or any month or particular months. They can bring that up. And then we have financial information, net worth, assets, death queries, custom queries, and also update queries. So let's go back to the first dates one. You'll notice down here at the bottom we have 26 contacts of 26. 100% of the people are now showing inside this list. And you can also, this line right here, this that shows current grid filters, planner name equals Steve Goring, that filter is on. You can toggle this line of information, this edit filter line, with clicking this filter bar button, turns it on or off. I'm going to leave it on for just a minute. So okay, first let's go to dates, and we have contact birthday this month. And if we run that query, we'll see that one person meets that, 1 of 26, 4% of the database. If I wanted to see spouse birthdays this month, I could hit that and run, and there's none. If I wanted spouse birthdays next month, these are all dynamic. This month, next month, last month. So you can save these queries with those dynamic names in them, and they'll be valid no matter which month you run them from. So next month, if I run that for spouse, we actually have one. If we double click the spouse or the contact and bring up the dates, you can see the spouse is born in August, and the birthday month for the contact is in July. So all that's adding up. If you want, you can add a profile to one of these stored profiles. See if that brings up anything. And yeah, it says that this particular person has not only got a birthday next month, but the profile of Elks is in there also. You don't have to, but the profile is an optional listing. So okay, those were all the possibilities, and these are all the, so it's contact birthday, spouse birthday, or you could go for children birthdays that are this month. Run that. Done. Next month, run. Just seeing what's in this database. There isn't any. You can do it on wedding anniversaries. You can do it on the date that the contact became a client. That's where you changed him to a client. The date it was entered, or the date it was modified, or the date it was last reviewed. Ages, same logic. You can use this contact's age, the spouse's age, children ages, wedding ages. And then over here, you decide if it's greater than or equal to. So right now, if I run this, it's going to get all contacts that are greater than or equal to age 30. You can see the query results column shows that. If I change this to 70, it should modify that list down a lot. Run. You see now all the contact ages are 70 or greater. Anytime you get tired of looking at a query, or you're done with the query, you can click Stop, and it will repopulate the grid with all of them again, 26 of 26. Or you can click Run it again, and boom, now we have all the contacts that are already age 70. Another way you can clear this list is just clear or close your query bar up here at the top in this main menu. Just turn that off, and now we have 26 of 26 again. Or we can use the query, and we can run this one again, and we got our 70-year-olds or greater. Alright, profile. These are, if you want to query on profiles, it lists all the profiles, You can put in, I want to see all Rotary members, and you can even do an or statement. Or I want to see people that golf, run. So now we have profiles of golf and Rotary over here in the query results column. Meeting codes. If somebody has an annual review this month, run. Let's say, I don't care what month, any month, run. You'll see that they have annual reviews, and it also lists the month that the contact has an annual review. So we could say next month it should return August. And there we have that. Insurance. Term life insurance criteria. So if anybody has term life insurance, the anniversary date for their policy, if you want to see that, it's this month. There's none. Or you can say any month and run, just to get an idea, and it shows the policy date and the insurance company. Life insurance totals. This is how much life insurance does a particular client have. The client life, spouse life, or second to die. You can query on all those values. It can be greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or equal to, or it can be a range between two values, between this value and the second value. Financial data. Whose income? This is on the income tab. It can be the contacts. Greater or equal to, it defaults to 50,000. If we run that, this is all of the incomes over 50,000. Let's say I put 150,000 in here. It should limit it down to 2 now when I run it, and it does. These two people make over 150,000. You can also run the same query for the spouse's income or for combined income. Net worth, same logic again, greater than, equal to, or ranges. You can also say just assets only. I want to see everyone whose assets are greater than 250,000, regardless if their net worth is less than that. Let's say he has a bunch of liabilities, but we just want to see assets of 250,000 or more. You could run that, and you'll get a listing of their assets also. This assets tab, that's where you can break assets down into groups, and it defaults to residents that are above 250,000. You can run that, and you'll see everyone whose home is worth 250,000 or more. The next section, death, trusts, revocable trust, irrevocable trust. You see that? One person. If we look at the card value and turn this off, this is one interesting thing. On irrevocable trust, notice this contact here, James Ahmed, he has a picture. When I run that query, his image is gone because the blob information associated with his image, because images are stored in the database, are not acceptable in this particular query. So if you ever notice an image going away, if you're on the card view, it's not an error, it's because in that query we can't allow an image in it. So let's go back to list view. And so if you want to list people with revocable trusts or irrevocable trusts or other trusts, all you have to do is select which one you want and run it. So let's stop it. Let's go back to 26 of 26. Wills. This is at death. Who's missing death wills in your entire database? You'd run it and you can see. Or who has a living will? Or I'm sorry, who has a death will? You can run that also. Or you can say who's missing their living will and death will, and run that. We can find out. The next section is saved queries. This is where you can actually save a query. So let's go back over here to profile. Let's run this one. This is where we had Rotary or golf, and you see we have 8 people listed. But let's say you wanted to add additional criteria to this. And say I only want to see IBM employees that are in Rotary and golf. Okay, we just added another whole dimension to that. And you can see it's here. Scoring, planner, and employer. And the employer equals IBM. The other part of the query is built into the SQL. So now we have it all set up. We'll go to click the save, and we'll click, and it brings up this dialog. And first thing you're going to name it is a name. Let's say IBM Golfers. And then since we already have all this information defined over here, IBM and the profile, we can just paste that information in here. There's the SQL statement where the the profile is either rotary or golf. And then if we want to bring in this line of information here where there's criteria placed on the grid itself, planner name Steve Goring and employer is IBM, well then we would click this grid filter information. And that's about it. We click save. And now if we want to run that query again, we would run IBM Golfers. So let's run something else. Zip code, I don't know what that is, we can look. This is anybody with zip code starting with 8. Now if we want to run the IBM Golfers again, just click it and boom, it executes. You can run it also like that, but it has already executed. If you want to delete that query now, you would click remove, and the IBM Golfers would be removed. If you wanted to edit it, you click edit and add any other criteria you want. If you want a new one, you can also create your own SQL. Select Splat from contacts and save and close. We'll call it my new query 3, and then we can run it. I had an error in the select statement. That's okay, you get the idea. My query, let's go back to IBM Golfers. And if we go back to a query I just wrote again, one that has the error, you'll see that there's an S there. It shouldn't have an S in the table, so if we go in here and say edit, take the S off that, save and close. I'll rerun it. There we got 27 of 27. So in other words, queries, you can write your own queries. They can be update queries, etc. It can be any query you define. It's easy for you to create queries in Access, or if you like to write your own SQL, that's fine also. The Updates tab is for update queries that have been wrote for you. Let's say you're running a mail merge with familiar name, dear familiar name, and you're noticing there's a lot of blanks there. Well, you can have the familiar name filled in with the first name if the familiar name is missing. So you would just run this query and it asks you to confirm this. They can't be reversed. You say yes, and it's done. This does the same thing with salutation, and one replaces the salutation with the familiar name or the first name. Same things for the spouse. Also notes, this creates a modified date. This is only necessary if you're running FPS 3 in a mixed environment in an office, because the FPS 3 users will not be inserting modified date information, because that field was not available on FPS 3. So when you run reports on notes, goals, and recommendations, it looks at the modified date, and if it's missing, it'll be left out of the report. So if you notice reports missing, and some people are running an FPS 3, I would run this update query and it should clear that up. That about covers queries. Thanks for watching. See you.